What is good? What is good, internet world? What is good, hip hop community? I am your host. What is good, internet? I am your host, Mikey T, the movie star, and I appreciate everybody for joining me. I wanted to do a little afternoon vibe. I want to do an afternoon live cast, you guys. Let's let everybody pour in here. I'm going to roll up some sour diesel. Got a little sour on deck. About to put some sour in the air. You heard what I'm saying? But we got some shit to talk about this afternoon. Wanted to do a live afternoon edition of the show, you guys. Appreciate everybody that's tapping in that wants to hear this news today. Major love. I have not been on any type of vacation, bro. You just haven't been tapping in. Make sure you hit the notification bell. I have not been on any type of vacation. I've been doing live streams legitimately every single day of the week. I have not been doing any type of vacationing, you guys. I've been hitting y'all with live streams every single day of the week. We've been covering all the news from Hassan Campbell exposing Wack 100 with the leaked audio to Mac Main, 8 Ball, both calling out Gillie the Kid based on a couple of his stories. Oh, you've been on vacation. Yo, man, I hope you enjoyed your vacation. Hope you enjoyed your vacation. Did you go anywhere crazy? Let me know, bro. Great to see you back in the chat. Everybody, what is popping? I'm your host, Mikey T, the movie star. We got to go over a few things today. Wack 100 had quite the conversation with Mase. I want to speak on that this afternoon. Mase, Wack 100, going in on some details, some industry secrets, if you will. That's right. We're going to be uncovering some bad boy music history today, you guys. Mase, what type of album contract did he sign with Bad Boy? What was going on with him and Puff Daddy? We're going to talk about that today. Need everybody to go share this video. Share this video, y'all. Hit that like button on the way in. And when you come in here, always let me know what city and state you're tapping in from. Let me know what you're blazing. Let me know what you're blazing and everything, man. We got some topics to speak on tonight. We might even talk about a little Suge Knight tonight. We might even talk a little Suge Knight tonight, you guys. Dakota says, Wack is always running his mouth. What up, King Jess? I appreciate you for tapping in. Maurice is in the building. Maurice is in the building. Time to roll up this South Georgia gas. Roll up the gas, man. We're going to get started with the show. We're going to get started with the show tonight. I'm about to roll up some sour D's. You know we're doing the show a little bit early tonight, you guys. That's right. Saturday Night Live type shit, baby, with your host, Mikey T, the movie star. Gillie the Kid went off on his IG the other day. He went off. He did a video with Wallow. They were kind of talking about the OGs. You know what I mean? They were kind of talking about the OGs. I really wanted to go in and look up some dates. I wanted to go look up some dates when it comes to Gillie and 8 Ball and MJG. I kind of wanted to look at it and get a little bit of perspective, you guys, as to if 8 Ball and MJG are actually Gillie's OGs in the game. Now, I guess you could say that they're Gillie's OGs when it comes to the record label situation that he had. And I'm talking about Suave House. I'm talking about Tony Draper. I'm talking about when you go to a label and you have a couple guys who have been there for a few more years than you, you expect them to give you the truth. You expect them to school you in the proper way. So this could be a reasoning for the terminology of OG, y'all. 8 Ball and MJG, they were getting their feet wet in the game. You know what I'm saying? They were getting their feet wet in the game for quite some time. Gillie the Kid came to the label at a certain point in time. You know what I'm saying? The 8 Ball and MJG studio album started as early as 1993. 8 Ball had solo albums as early as 1998. Now Gillie went off on OGs, and I can't say it was about 8 Ball. You know what I mean? I can't say it was about 8 Ball, but Gillie certainly went in on the OGs, you guys, and we're going to get into that in just a second. What's going on? Would you prayed up? Retro, Dev, I see you're all in the building tonight. I'm rolling up a little sour. So I can get the show started right. We got a couple topics to speak on. Gillie going off on the OGs after this whole thing of 8 Ball calling him out. Mac Main wouldn't necessarily consider Mac Main an OG, but Mac Main is very, very highly regarded in this game. That's right. That's Lil Wayne's right-hand man, pretty much. Yep, we are early tonight. We're doing our thing. So let's get into this whole thing with Wack 100 and Mase. So I believe it was Reek. Reek was talking to Wack 100, and he was like, I remember Death Row coming to New York and Puff closing the offices for a few days. Wack said, you can't take nothing from Puff. You can't take nothing from Puff. That ain't what he do. So in regard to standing up against Death Row, you know what I mean? In regard to actually, standing tall, Puff didn't want to battle with these guys. You could sort of tell it. Wack goes on to explain, Puff ain't looking to, when Pac dropped, hit him up. Puff called Biggie and told him, we can't respond to this. These days, that's why I tell people it's too many gangsters trying to be in the music on the executive side. Wack is right, but it's not just now. It's always been that way. You know what I mean? The transition into the music industry, the transition into film. You can't really fault a man for wanting to get out of a certain way of life that he's living to do something that is legitimate. Puffy wanted to make sure that his organization stayed legitimate. You know what I mean? Puff didn't want Big to respond because he didn't want this hip hop issue to turn into a real life issue. That's what he was more important. That's what he was more invested in. If you look at the history of the music, if you simply look at the history of the music, Biggie's music never really needed any of the diss tracks to actually go where he was going. You know what I mean? Biggie didn't really need the diss tracks to get his name out there and shit like that. Biggie was doing it based on the momentum from the music. And that's, I believe, what Puff wanted to stay in. What's up, would you see? Appreciate you for tapping in. Appreciate you for tapping in tonight. Appreciate everybody for sharing this video. Going to live a little bit early this afternoon, you guys. A little bit early. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, though. Wack 100 speaking on Puff Daddy's business. Speaking on Puff Daddy's, the way he ran Bad Boy, but he also was having a conversation with Mase, you guys, which makes this even more interesting because, Wack 100 has his views from his perspective, but when you're actually in there talking to somebody that lived through it, somebody that was actually more than lived through it, because we all lived through it, but Mase was an important part of it. Yeah, actually, that's another thing, Lily. That's another thing that I actually heard about. What up, C? Everything's good. Everything's Gucci on my side, man. I'm just rolling something up. We're about to get started with the stream tonight. About to get started with the stream tonight. Appreciate everybody for hitting that like button. Appreciate everybody in here hitting that like button, sharing this video. Oh shit, I gotta make sure that's Gucci. And we looking good. We looking good. Hope everybody been enjoying their day. Hope everybody's going to enjoy this stream. Everybody's going to enjoy this stream. About to roll something up. What's popping with your G's? My guy from Land Hustle in the building. It's a beautiful PA day. Okay, that's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. Yeah, it's nice here in Connecticut as well. It's looking real nice here in Connecticut as well. I can't lie. I can't lie. But you know, a lot of Mace's deal with Puff Daddy, it's shit that we don't really know about, you guys. Mace's situation with Puff, it seemed to come to an end rapidly. You know, after the Harlem World album, the Double Up album came out, and it was over. We all know the Double Up album really didn't get as much promo. Like, it didn't get as much promo as the Harlem World album because at that point, Mase was gone. At that point, Mase had packed his bags. Now, the story that we had all been told, the story that we all believed was that Mase's album, the Harlem World album, did good. His album did good. They renegotiated for the Double Up album. And after that album, negotiation happened. The story was that we all heard, the story that I remember is that Mase decided to up and leave. He decided to up and leave. Now, he explains to Wack, he's going to explain to Wack that he explained this to the people as well. Mase is saying that he explained this to the people, that he only planned to stick around for one album. You know, he only planned to stick around for one album. That's very interesting, man. If anybody in the chat remembers that, let me know. If anybody in the chat actually remembers that, let me know. Do you guys remember Mase saying that he was only going to be sticking around for one album? Everybody go ahead, hit that like button on the way in. Everybody share this video. Everybody share this video. About to put a poll up. About to put a poll up, everybody. If y'all want to vote in the poll, I'm about to put that shit up right now. What's going on with you, Lady Legend? What's going on with you? Land Hustle says he got a lot of advances and dipped, I heard. Appreciate what up, Ty Cut. Appreciate you for tapping in. So Wack is like, you can't take nothing from Puff. You can't take nothing from Puff. That ain't what he do. Reek said Mase said he closed it down for a few days. When Diddy allegedly heard that Death Row Records, Suge, Pac, Snoop, all the guys from Death Row were coming to New York, apparently Diddy closed the Bad Boy offices. Wack said Puff ain't looking to, when Pac dropped Hit 'Em Up, Puff called Big and told him, we can't respond to this. These days, that's why I tell people it's too many gangsters trying to be in the music. And on the executive side, you're not going to change the executive side. They control the flow. The streets want to dictate what the rules are in the executive side, and it's not going to happen. Wack continued on. He said, we don't need your rules and regulations. We still pushing our contracts and our rules in our ways. And then Wack brought up a crazy situation with Ludacris here as well. When I got into it with Ludacris, I tripped out. I sent him a deposit for 40, 50. I sent him a deposit for 40, 50. And when he's saying this, I assume he means he sent him a deposit for $40,000 to $50,000 to book Ludacris, you guys. Who was the best on Bad Boy Records, you guys? I'm putting up a poll right now. Bunch of scattered artists from Bad Boy Records. I'm putting it up right now. Who do y'all think was the best from Bad Boy Records? Y'all can vote in that poll. About to roll something up. Hope y'all are smoking good. Hope everybody's smoking good for the stream. I'm fitting to roll up this sour so we can get going. Fitting to roll up this sour so we can get going. We got an epic stream tonight. Wack 100 and Mase exposing Diddy's secrets, you guys. Diddy's secrets getting exposed. I mean, the rumors that we all heard was that Mase walked away. Mase took the budget for Double Up, which was over $1 million from what we heard. He did a renegotiation of his contract and he walked away. That's what the news was all over the internet. Mase actually spoke out against these rumors. Yeah, because that's mids. Yeah, because that's mids. Yeah, yup, the sour is a sativa, actually. Sour diesel is a sativa, actually, which is cool. You know, it'll have me all amped up during the stream. I won't even need a Red Bull. So sour's cool in a lot of ways. You know, I like sativas. But damn, I should have smoked that Granny Mac earlier. I should have smoked that Granny Mac earlier. That shit was hitting. But I've been smoking runts. I've been smoking runts and sour. Everybody share this video. Let's go. About to get started here. About to get started. We really just hit the tip of the iceberg. We really just hit the tip of the iceberg with those first couple sentences. Wack pretty much explaining, you know, a lot of things that we already knew about Puff really wanting to keep his music in the music related sense. You know, he didn't really want to take it to the beef. Biggie was making such good music that he really didn't need to resort to beef. A lot of people can say what they want about Who Shot Ya, but honestly, I just feel like that was one of Big's gangsta tracks. I really just considered that one of his gangsta tracks, just to be honest with you. Yep, fix yourself up a drink, get your L's rolled. You know what I'm saying? Get your L's rolled. Get your L's rolled. Fix yourself a drink. I'm about to get started on this stream officially, man. We're about to have a great stream tonight. About to have a great stream tonight, you guys. Wow, that C-Mac video, that C-Mac video is doing hella numbers for that sour milk joint. That sour milk joint's doing hella numbers ever since Milk decided to mention it on the Say Cheese interview. So I'm saying a lot of these guys be studying Mikey T, but they don't know how to do this internet shit like me. You can study me all day, but you're not going to be able to do it like me. All right, let me see. I got this twisted up. Let's get lit up. Let's get lit up. All right, lady, you got your blunts. You got your blunts in rotation. It said sativa on there? I didn't notice it said sativa. I didn't think it said sativa on there. About to light this up. We're about to get into the topics. Everybody can vote in the poll. It looks like Biggie's number one. We're not even getting no votes on Black Rob. Come on. Black Rob had one of the biggest singles on Bad Boy. Like, whoa. Like Whoa was one of the biggest singles on Bad Boy, the biggest singles that Bad Boy ever saw. Let's just be real about it, you guys. Like Whoa was bigger than any of Shine's singles. Now, I love Shine's 2 albums. You know what I'm saying? Land Hustle TV, my brother. I really love Shine's 2 albums, and that's why I'm going to give Shine the edge on Black Rob. But Shine did not have a single, Shine did not have a single as big as Like Whoa. So let's see what we got here, you guys. So Wack is like, he was about to go in on Ludacris, you guys, and this was actually kind of crazy. He said, when I got into it with Ludacris, I tripped out. I sent him a deposit for 40 to 50, and my business partner didn't go and get the insurance. We were supposed to do a festival in New Orleans. It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. But I didn't care about none of that. You're going to run my deposit back. Wack 100 exposing that at one point he had issues with Ludacris. Well, not too much of issues. Not too much of issues, because apparently I guess he got the deposit back. Wack said, as soon as Ludacris knew that I was a blood, he explained how it ended. As soon as he knew I was a blood, as soon as he came to LA, who do you think he called? He called the Crips. That went bad on him. That went bad on him. The Crip he tried to call was Big U. It didn't work. That example right there, it shows you how Big U and Wack 100 were sticking together. That example right there shows you that Big U had Wack 100's back, even when it came to a major celebrity artist like Ludacris, who, in all honesty, Ludacris is practically bigger, than a lot of the artists now that these guys are arguing about. You know what I'm saying? Ludacris back then is at a stature that can't be compared to many others. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about $40,000 to $50,000 here for Ludacris, you guys, and Big U had Wack 100's back. So if Big U had his back against Ludacris, that means he would have his back against anybody, guys. So Wack addressed Mase. He said, so the one charge we know, Mase, he gonna do what he want to do. You know that. Whether you like it or not, this is what it is. This is what is on the table. So for him to lie or some mediators to change up what y'all talked about is a little different. Yo, bro, report on the 2 people that watch your live video and let me know how that goes. I've been doing this for 12 years to get my weight up. So Wack 100 brought this to Mase. Mase was there on the clubhouse with him. Mase is like, that's where the clash is. Most people, you can get away with that. This is Mase telling Wack. This is where his clash with Diddy came at, you guys. Most people, you can get away with that. He knows he can't get away with that with me. Yeah, little quick burn, Lee. I don't need to waste my time on no suckers, for real. I don't need to waste my time on no suckers, for real. Everybody go ahead and share this video. Right now, we're going over Wack 100 and Mase, detailing his situation with Bad Boy Records. We're hearing some industry secrets. Maybe they're Bad Boy secrets. Can somebody bring me a glass bottle so I can do the Bad Boy thing? I want to do the Bad Boy thing with a glass bottle. Oh, shit. Do I got one? Bad boy. Bad boy. 1 second. Bad boy. Sorry, you guys. I figured I had a couple bottles of Douce around. I could do it real quick. But yeah, so Mase said that's where the clash is. Most people can get away with that. He knows he can't get away with that with me. That's always been the clash in our relationship. I'm not going to go for what everyone else is going to go for. Wack said, I didn't know if you was on DMX shit in Belly. He's like, when you started doing the pastor shit, because I know you're something like an asshole. So you fooled a lot of these people with the demeanor and all that little shit. But you get on your wicked shit when you want to. Wack 100 bringing out the fact that a lot of people know Mase is pretty cocky. You know what I mean? A lot of he called him an asshole. You know what I mean? Mase is not really the type of person who is going to exactly Mase told me he was going to do an interview with me one time, for example. He told me he was going to do the interview. A few hours later, could not get a hold of Mase. Total asshole move. You know what I'm saying? So I could see why Wack is actually telling this to Mase right to his face. You know what I'm saying? Is that Remo from the old Murder Inc. albums? Let me know that. Is that Remo from the old Murder Inc. albums? So Wack brought up, like, I didn't know you if he was gonna be on that pastor shit. He's saying, like, I didn't know if he was on the DMX shit on Belly. So you had these people fooled with your demeanor. Right there, he's saying the demeanor that Mase had, the pretty boy. You know what I mean? When he went from Murder Mase to pretty boy Mase. You know, when he went to that demeanor of, you know, being able to woo all the women, being the most debonair one in the group. You know what I'm saying? Having no fear when it comes to talking to a woman. You know what I'm saying? And spit that game, that Harlem game. You know what I'm saying? But little did we know, Mase was pulling back. Mase was fighting his inner demons while showing the world the persona that we believed that we wanted to see. You see what I'm saying, you guys? That persona of waving around your rollie, standing up in the back of the Jeep with no drop, with the drop top. You know what I'm saying? Just standing up, throwing your hands in the air. That whole demeanor that Mase gave off is what the people needed to buy into. You know, when we saw Mase leave, it was sad. It was like the guy who started the party, the guy who got the party jumping is leaving the party. Everybody knows that's when the party starts to end. Yep. Children of the Corn, Murder Mase to Pretty Boy Mase. Yep. I don't think anybody who watched Mase in the Children of the Corn days, I don't think anybody who watched Mase in the Children of the Corn days when he's rapping shit like, I used to sell morphine for more green. I don't think any of us listening back then thought that Mase was going to take his ball and go home. But Mase pulled a Chris Tucker. Mase pulled a Chris Tucker, you guys. When Chris Tucker's movie Rush Hour got him paid $20 million, Chris Tucker took his ball and he went home. Chris Tucker made his money and he went home. We've heard a lot of people say, once I make, what rappers out there had said once they make 5 million, they were going to quit the game and move to an island? A lot of rappers have said that type of shit. Was Mase really one of them? I didn't take Mase to be that one. You know what I mean? Mase is a guy that came from the most grimy of positions. You know what I'm saying? He seemingly, I mean, he got to play college ball and all that with Cam. I think they both got kicked out of college or something like that. You know, so that says something about them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there who can't even get into college. You know what I mean? Me being one of them. You know, I never got the opportunity to do that whole college lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are just so hype on getting out of school. You know what I mean? The fact that they actually got to do shit like that, like Mobb Deep, guys getting the chance to go to college and, you know, make something better of themselves. And even when it comes to the music, because when they go to college, they educate themselves, they come out, they're making better music. You know what I'm saying? They're coming out, they're running a record label. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when Prodigy was locked up in prison, when he got out after those 3 years, you saw how he got right back to work. We've seen a couple people in regard to that. You know, they use their time. They use their time and they come back out like a fireball, man. You know, others, as we've heard, you know, a lot of others, like we were just saying it the other day, a lot of people that come home from jail, they don't necessarily get that win back underneath their, you know what I mean? They don't get that momentum back that they once had. And T.I. is a prime example of that. And Mase leaving the game, if we want to use that, sort of parallel that to it, Mase leaving the game for several years, it didn't do anything to help his momentum either. When he came back with the album Welcome Back, when he started making his return to work with G Unit, and then the G Unit deal didn't go through, and then he started doing his solo thing. What was it called? Now We Even or something like that. What was his shit called back then, you guys? Yeah, Mace's shit really didn't take off after all those years off. I mean, sure, he can come in and do a $50,000 feature and make a nice bag, but his music did not take off. But honestly, you guys, I don't think it's about the music taking off. I think it's more so about getting that big bag. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys like to get that big bag that they were never able to get in their lifetime. You know what I mean? Mase coming up when he was a member of Children of the Corn, he would have never dreamed that he would have been selling features for $50,000. You know what I mean? I don't think he would have. I think he was there really just trying to, you know, put more green in his pockets by any type of, you know, avenue that he could. When these rappers get to that level where they're doing things for $40,000 and $50,000, you know what I mean? Things become less of importance to them. Yeah, Jay Sinatra. Yup, according to Mase. And please, if you heard Mase say this back in the day, put your hand up in the chat. According to Mase, he said, I'm leaving after one album. So if you guys heard this in the chat, please put a thumb up or a star. Put whatever, because I don't remember this, you guys. I don't remember this whatsoever. I'm saying that Mase, everybody share this video as well. Everybody share this video as well, you guys. Because I kind of feel like Mase pulled a Chris Tucker. You know what I mean? And I call it a Chris Tucker because Chris Tucker made $20 million on a film and then decided he was going to retire. You know what I mean? When I wanted to see, Chris Tucker at one point was working on a movie called Mr. President at the same time that Chris Rock was working on Head of State. We never saw Chris Tucker's Mr. President movie, you guys. We never saw it. It was pretty upsetting that he didn't continue his career. And it was very upsetting, you guys. Very upsetting for I know everybody in this room had to be upset that Mase did not continue on with his albums. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody had to be upset about that. Let me put up this poll right now. I want to know, were you guys disappointed when Mase left the game? Tyson says, so Mase only wanted to make one album, but why make more albums? Leave and come back. He's capping. Jay Sinatra says, I was definitely upset that he not continue. Zamir says, was it Mase last day of making his album 2004 and stopped making albums the last year of 2005? Well, that would be the Welcome Back album, Zamir. Lily says she didn't really care. Wow, that's amazing. So the guy, the best, I'm going to give Mase the better verse on Only You. I'm going to give Mase the better verse on Only You over Big with 112. And you're telling me you didn't want the guy who made Only You to record more music? This guy who legitimately, we saw Mase come out of the street image. You know what I mean? He came out of the street image and he started bubbling in the industry, and then he's gone. Jay Sinatra says, I think Mase walked away once he saw how the business was being conducted. Well, What do you mean? Are you talking about the fact that he was kind of playing sidekick to Puff Daddy? Are you talking about, I mean, if you look at his first album, a lot of the best, a lot of the best, a lot of the best Mase songs are actually used on the No Way Out album, which was P. Diddy's or Puff Daddy's first official album. 24 Hours to Live. Yep, that's a single from Harlem's World. Welcome Back doesn't count. Welcome Back most certainly counts. That's his last album, bro. That's Mace's last album. So let me get back into this here because we're really just starting to get into the conversation with Wack and Mase. So Wack is like, I didn't know if you was on the DMX shit on Belly when you started doing the pastor shit. Mase is like, nah, I'm 100% what we talk about. Whatever we talk about, even with music. One of the things people didn't understand about me is I told everybody I was not to be in music for a long time. Whether they took my words serious or not is on them. It's not nobody that can say Mase never really told me that. Well, I mean, shit, if we're going to get an interview with Puff Daddy would have to be the one to say that. You know, back in the day when Mase allegedly ran out on Puff Daddy after the Harlem's World album, when they had made that, from what I heard, contract renegotiations for the Double Up album. After that, Mase was done. That's why that album didn't have much promotion, and it kind of like sold. What did it sell? Half of what Harlem World did? Even that? Jay says he wasn't playing sidekick because he wrote all the rhymes. Yeah, good factor. Good factor right there. You know, the fact that he's writing all the rhymes, but you know what? We've seen other situations, Jay, where the front man has other people writing his rhymes, and those people writing the rhymes are sitting in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? They're sitting in the back seat, man. Clarissa says, just like Mase, she retired. She says she retired from music after my first karaoke attempt. And her song that she performed was Changes by Tupac, the ultimate karaoke hit, you guys. So Mase is like, from the first day I got into music, I told them I'm going to be here for one album. That was already understood. I said it more than one time in interviews, but people didn't take it serious. So apparently he told Diddy, he told them that he's going to do one album, you guys. He's going to do one album. So Wack asked him, was your contract for one album? Was your contract for one album then? Was your contract a one-off is what Wack 100 said. Mase is like, no, but that's on them, whether they take it serious or not. So they sign you to a 4-album deal, a 3-album deal, or a 7-album deal, whatever the hell it was. They sign you to a multiple album deal, and you're expecting me to believe that you told them in a meeting as they're drawing up the contract that you were only going to do one album, and you expect me and the rest of the world to believe that. Okay, so I guess I'm going to tell Diddy I'm going to only do one album. Well, you know what, man? I'm going to put it in the contract that you could potentially do 2 or 3 more albums, and maybe you'll get an inkling. Maybe you'll get an interest in doing more albums based on what we do for Harlem's World or CT's World, Mikey T. Yeah, but honestly, I'm not going to be reading some comments. You know, some of the comments get a little bit out there. And you know what? If you guys want to leave a comment that I read, leave a super chat, man. In all honesty, leave a super chat. So Wack is like, your contract was a one-off? Mase is like, no, but that's on them whether they take it serious or not. Wack is like, Mase, you know you're crazy for saying that. How are you going to sign a 2 to 3 to 4 album deal and they say that's on them? You trip and then say that's on them. You tripping. Yeah, he signed the contract album deal, but now Mase is really going to break it down. Mase is really going to break it down now. Some information that I don't think we were all privy to. Information we were not privy to, you guys. Mase is going to get real with it, and that's why I got love for the Clubhouse app. You know what I'm saying? It really gives people an opportunity to actually do things, to say things that they wouldn't normally say. Now, Mase said, why I'm saying that is because when you do a deal, you only get money for one album. Each album you get the money. So I never took the money for a second album and never delivered. See, that's what a lot of people were thinking. A lot of people were under the impression that Mase had taken money for an album. We're all under the impression that Mase took money for an album and ran out on the deal. Not so much. Not so much. I was under the impression that he took money for the Double Up album and then left off to Atlanta after completing the album and thus not doing any promotion from it. Iceberg. You know it's bad when the shorty's not even jacking Mase no more, aka MA$E, aka Murder Mase, aka Pastor Betha. That's right, man. That's right. Yeah, you know, it's Mase. Mase ain't really putting out the well, I think his last song was a girl song, wasn't it? Wasn't it? I filmed him performing it in the club. It was a girl record. But like I said, Mase was never really able to get that momentum back that he walked out on. Sure, Mase coming back in the industry a couple times was cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was cool. If he would have signed a G Unit, that would have been great. But 50 Cent didn't want to put down $2 million to sign Mase, which is odd. But let's get back into what Mase was saying here. Let's get back into what Mase was saying here about, because when you do a deal, you only get money for one album. Each album you get the money. So I never took money for a second album and never delivered. Now let's look into the deal that Chief Keef did, a $6 million deal with Interscope. You know what I mean? First of all, put that in perspective. Chief Keef did his deal with Interscope, and he did not do his deal with somebody like a 50 Cent. You know what I mean? An artist signed to the label. That's a pure difference. If Interscope had interest in signing Mase, they would have bought his contract out from Diddy. You know what I'm saying? But 50 being the one that had interest in doing it, he didn't really want to pay $2 million to work with Mase. That's what it would have costed for him to work with Mase in a manner that he could have put it out and showed it to all of us. But I seem to remember Chief Keef having a $6 million deal with Interscope, and they had an option if he didn't sell X amount of units, which was 250,000 actually, that they had the option in the contract to drop him. So what Mase is saying here is obviously true. Obviously, if Interscope was going to take the option to drop Chief Keef, they would not pay him all of the money up front. So yeah, I got to give it to Mase on that one. Second. Oh, 1 second. Let me hook you up, bro. Let me hook you up. Let me hook you up, bro. Anyways, where are we at with this? So Mase said, as they gave me the money, I produced the albums. Even though we have it in writing, the label can come back on and say, we don't want to give you a third album. We don't want to give you a second album. So it's not like I signed something and took the money and ran with the money. We have an agreement. If you show me the money, Mase going all Cuba Gooding Jr. from Jerry Maguire here. If you show me the money, we have an album. They didn't show me the money. We didn't have no album. Well, we certainly did have a second album, the Double Up album. We certainly did have a second album. It was called Double Up. It was extremely underwhelming, you guys. An extremely underwhelming album from Mase after such a majorly successful solo debut in Harlem World, coming from a group, of artists, you know what I'm saying? And we all saw what happened to that batch of artists. Cam, Big L, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. We all saw what came from Cameron with Jim and Jewels and the whole Dipset empire, you know, but Mase took a different route, you guys. Mase took a bit of a different route. Mase decided to go be the, as they say in the chat, the pen man. You know what I'm saying? He just, rather than go out and start his own thing, which Cameron saw the error of his ways very quickly, and Cam was like, I got to go back to the drawing board. I've got to create my own empire. So Mase is like, it's not like today where they upfront you all the money and dudes go crazy and buy chains for the money. I got it. I produced 1,000 times over. If you say you gave Mase 20,000 and Mase produced all those records in the 90s, it was really death row against me when Biggie died. I produced all those records. Why would I be somewhere asking you for something realistically? And then Mase started asking about what happened with YSL. Now, right there, you know, Mase saying that it was Mase versus Death Row, it's a little bit of an exaggeration. You know what I'm saying? Because because we all know what transpired. We all know the timeline of Pac and Big. We all know what happened with Snoop. We all know where Snoop went shortly after. So for Mase to actually put himself in that, and then once Dre, Snoop, and Pac were gone from Death Row, what did you have for Death Row? It's not like after Big passed and Mase left. You know what I'm saying? It's not like after they left Bad Boy and Diddy still had Shine. He came up with Shine. He came up with Black Rob. And then he came up with Bad Boys for Life. They were more on the scene. Bad Boy was more on the scene. Death Row was gone. Aside from, I believe it was the Gridlocked album soundtrack. That was the last successful joint that Death Row did, and that was on Priority. Somebody fact check me. The last Death Row movie soundtrack they did on Priority, you guys. So that's the topic of Mase and Wack 100, basically going over some of the industry secrets about Mase's deal. Mase says he was not given any money for follow-up albums. Mase said the rumor, the allegations of him running out on those contracts are not true. He's saying they're false, you guys. Now, we all know Mase eventually delivered 3 albums for Bad Boy Records. After Welcome Back came out, Puff Daddy said, okay, Mase, we've had enough. Mase got put on the shelf, and then Mase actually returned when Diddy was doing a live interview, you guys, on radio. Mase returned and got Diddy to sign him off of his contract. He confronted Diddy on live radio and had a release for him. Mase would go on to release a couple singles. I seen somebody in the chat say Mase could actually release some singles. You know, Mase could still do his thing releasing singles, and that's pretty much what he's done. You know what I mean? Whether it's coming back to record a feature for thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? Get a quick little re-up, quick little 20, 30 G's on an 8-bar feature. Come do a little hosting. Any of these little things that Mase can do, he likes to do them. But then he steps back out of the public eye. It's so strange. It's so strange to somebody like me who thought that Mase loved the public eye. Mase and the public eye went hand in hand. It seemed like he really knew how to, carry himself in the public. Even though I guess he had the Nicolas Cage type shit going on where everything he saw you'd have to buy. So let's get into Gillie and 8 Ball, you guys. You know, Gillie had told the story on a podcast with Scarface, the Ghetto Boys Reloaded podcast. He told a story that actually involved 8 Ball. When he first signed alongside Tony Draper, when he first signed at Suave House, Gillie said he went to Texas to do something called parking lot pimping. Gillie really didn't know what it was. He didn't understand I mean, shit. If you hear something like parking lot pimping, you know what I mean? If you hear something like parking lot pimping, you're going to think, okay, we're going to be in a parking lot outside of a nightclub, I would assume, and we're going to be, getting our name out there, maybe putting a couple CDs out there. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be out there marketing your material and shit like that. So honestly, I don't think that's really anything too foreign for somebody like Gil. Gil had sold, I'd seen like Gil had sold shit out the trunk before in Philly or whatever. But, maybe it was a little foreign to Gillie. So he was telling people about it, but he didn't know exactly what it was. So he gets out there. He's with the guys PLP in parking lot. You know what I'm saying? He's PLPing with the guys. And then they hear about Jay Prince rolling up. And it's very interesting because Gillie's actually going to have Jay Prince on the podcast. That's right. That's $1 million worth of games. Next guest. That's Gillie the Kid's next guest, you guys. Gillie and Wallow are going to be having Jay Prince on the show. I wonder if this incident will be addressed. I hope Gillie clears it up with I hope he clears it up with 8 Ball and MJG, man. Because in all honesty, man, I think this is just a little misunderstanding. Some people take shit a little bit too serious, but I mean, that's not to say that 8 Ball shouldn't have taken it serious. He's obviously going to care about what's being said about him out there. And Gillie's voice, Gillie's reach is so much more than it has been like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Gillie's reach right now is at the ultimate high. You know what I'm saying? Gillie literally has everybody from the music industry tapped in, watching him. You can see it when he posts on Instagram and he gets everybody from the industry now treats him that like he is of the A-list. That shit that he was working for back in the day, why he was working with Tony Draper, why he took that situation and then got with Cash Money. You know what I mean? And then after Cash Money, he didn't stop. He took meetings. 50 Cent brought Gillie the Kid to Jimmy Iovine. Gillie has been on this shit trying to become the biggest rapper in the game for quite some time. It just turned out he had a quicker route getting there as the biggest blogger, the biggest podcaster. He's a sensation on this blog and shit. He's taken over. He's taken over when it comes to podcasting. Even Joe Budden is going live and saying, yo, top 3. Gillie's on the top 3 list. Major salute to Buffalo. Major salute to Buffalo on the tap in. Yep. No Way Out. Diddy's first album. A lot let's not give credit to B.I.G., bro. Let's not. Puffy was Biggie's artist, bro. Puffy was Biggie's artist. Had Puffy lived to start his own label, Puffy was gonna had Biggie lived to start his own label. I want to make sure I said that correctly. Biggie's first artist was gonna be Puff Daddy. So let's not forget history. Please don't post ignorant shit in the chat, man. We got to be respectful to these artists. So let's get into what 8 Ball actually said. Let's get into what 8 Ball actually said on the Versus platform. It was 8 Ball and MJG versus UGK. Gillie, 8 Ball said, Gillie the Kid, you remembered that wrong. You remembered that wrong. You have never been in the car with me. My first gun charge was in Houston, which I finally understand why he said that. You can look that shit up. And Lil J, we have nothing but respect for him. So Jay Prince is actually going to be on the $1 Million Worth of Game show this week, you guys. Jay Prince is actually going to be on the $1 Million Worth of Game show this week. You know what I'm saying, you guys? Yo, stop trying to take away from the stream, you guys. I'm doing my thing right now. So Gillie, let me finish this out here. And he ain't got nothing but respect for that. And he ain't got nothing but respect for that man. We ain't never had a run-in with Little J. Never. So I'm wondering if Gillie could honestly, I'm honestly wondering if Gillie clears that up on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast with Jay Prince this coming week. That's what I'm actually wondering, you guys. I'm wondering maybe they go as far as having 8 Ball and MJG on the show. Maybe they go as far as doing that. Maybe it goes a whole nother way where Jay Prince addresses issues with 8 Ball if there are any. I'm just saying there's a number of ways this could go. I don't know if it's going to get ignored. And I got a feeling it will be officially getting addressed. Now, Gillie posted a video. Gillie actually posted a video, an IG video. You know, Gillie always does his IG videos, you guys. He always jumps on the gram. He's always saying some wild shit. He's always giving some game, or he's always making some jokes. Now, Gillie has been known to talk about the OGs. Gillie has been known to talk about the OGs, you guys. Some are even assuming that what Gillie said recently on his Instagram is directed towards 8 Ball or guys like 8 Ball. Not necessarily 8 Ball, but dudes out there portraying the gangsta image. So let me rewind actually here, you guys. Let me rewind a little bit. 8 Ball said, Gillie the Kid, you remembered that wrong. You never been in the car with me. My first gun charge was in Houston. So let's examine that. The case that which we're talking about, the situation took place in Houston, right? 8 Ball saying his first charge actually came in Houston. That right there shows you that the man was moving to the extent, you know what I mean? When you got the stick on you, you're not necessarily running away from dudes. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the predominant factors of why 8 Ball is saying that Gillie must have remembered that one wrong. Gillie must have remembered that one wrong. Now, another situation I could kind of bring to the table is when you got your young homies there alongside you, and you know some real shit's fitting to pop off. And you know you're fitting to handle that real shit. You know what I'm saying, you guys? So trouble arises, your little homies are there. Yo, my G, take off in the whip. Big Mike T got to handle some shit. Take off in the whip. Yo, get up out of here. Mikey T, I got to handle some shit. It could have been a situation like that. Could have been a situation like that. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't know that Gillie did not say he was in the car with 8 Ball. You know what I'm saying? Gillie did not say he was in the car with 8 Ball. Tyson says, I think Gillie stretched his story a bit. I don't think he was trying to disrespect the OG. Yeah, you're right, Tyson. I don't think Gillie would, openly disrespect somebody that he had been label mates with. I mean, shit, I should take that back. Look at what happened with Cash Money. You know what I mean? But that seemed to be a memorable time in Gillie's life. Maybe I should scratch that statement 100%. We're going to have to wait and see, you guys. So Gillie got pretty pissed on his IG account. Yeah, let's go ahead and swipe that comment from the record. You know what I mean? Gillie has actually gone at everybody he's been signed with. So, you know what I'm saying? He makes fun of Wallow on a weekly basis, and they are signed to the podcast together. So, you know what I'm saying? But just like with that situation that happened, y'all, the situation with Mac Main putting up the video of Gillie and Lil Wayne. Yeah, that's why I'm saying in Gillie's story, he said 8 Ball was there talking to the girls. He said 8 Ball was there talking to the girls, but he did not say that he pulled up or left in the same car as 8 Ball. You know what I mean? That's why I don't know why 8 Ball's misunderstanding the story a little bit as well. You know what I mean? But that's what happens, man. That's what happens on this internet shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, Gillie got called out for stretching the Lil Wayne story. You know what I mean? So let's get into what Gillie said here, you guys. Gillie went on his IG. I saw this post. I didn't really take this to be for 8 Ball. But you know what? The fact of the matter is Gillie is saying you're an OG, all right? An OG is not an old dude who did some gangsta shit in the streets. That's not no OG. A OG is an older dude that's offering game. We've actually heard Gillie say this before. You know what I mean? We've actually heard Gillie say this before. So why repeat it? You know what I mean? Why repeat it? That's why a lot of people are speculating that this is the subliminal response. That this is the subliminal response to 8 Ball. Now, Gillie's having Jay Prince on the show. What is it, tomorrow night, you guys, or is it tonight? He's having him on the show. And I'm thinking this conversation has to come up. You know what I mean? I'm thinking this conversation has to come up. I'm thinking Wack 100 has to come up. That's the big thing that Jay Prince was talking about last week with the Larry Hoover project. That's the big thing they were talking about. But also, 8 Ball called out Gillie to a certain extent. Well, 8 Ball did say Gillie's going to have to change the story up. So I'm hoping that's another part of the interview, but they could have a whole lot of other shit to talk about in the interview. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just on me to talk about that shit. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just on me to talk about that shit. But I got a feeling that those two topics are not going to go untouched. They cannot not talk about those two topics. LaShawn says, I think he's going to bring up Wack's name again. But the Larry Hoover thing with Wack may need to be brought up because that was talked about last week. Now, will the 8 Ball thing be brought up? I think Gillie needs to clear the air with 8 Ball and MJG, man. Those guys were label mates. You know what I'm saying? But like I said earlier, the fact that Gillie was label mates with, Wayne, Gillie was politicking with BG. They were cool. You know what I mean? Gillie doesn't go off the rails and diss people for no reason. He would have, as a fan watching, I could have said he probably wouldn't have dissed Cassidy if Cassidy didn't say that shit about him. I cannot, you know what I mean? He would have never dissed and went through his issues with Meek Mill if there wasn't no talk there. Gillie usually is not the first person to diss somebody. Interesting enough, even Bump J had told me he brought the Lil Wayne diss song to Gillie the Kid. I might have to do a watch along on that for y'all. I can only do 4 options, bro. I can only do 4 options, man. The polls need to let us do like 6 options, to be honest with you. Yep, 4K. Yep, Gillie was telling the story on the Ghetto Boys Reloaded podcast, and Scarface was kind of like, why'd you run? He's like, why'd you run? Gillie was like, man, I've never run from anybody in my life. But let's get back into what Gillie said on the gram. He said, you're an OG, all right. An OG is not an old dude who did some gangsta shit in the streets. That's not no OG. A OG is an older dude that's offering game, that's giving you some type of knowledge that's going to uplift you. And the knowledge that he's given you is not beneficial to him. It's beneficial to you. He's not giving you no shit because he's trying to finesse you out of some shit. So watch out who you call your OGs. This is from Gillie. Watch out who you call your OGs. An OG is not someone who is just older than you. Really wondering where this is going to go. Really wondering where this is going to go. You know, sometimes you can have a situation where somebody is there, they're ahead of you. They've been in the game a little bit longer than you, but they're not necessarily going to throw you the alley oop. They're not necessarily going to do things to make sure that you have advice that's going to benefit you unless it benefits them. Like Gillie said, they're giving you some type of knowledge that's going to uplift you. And the knowledge that he's given you is not beneficial to him. A lot of the times, everybody's just thinking about the end game. They're thinking about me, me, me. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're thinking about. Okay, I get this dude hot. Okay, I do one single with you. You're going to do a single with me in about a year when your shit really takes off and it's gone. You know, sometimes people be thinking about shit like that. And it gets even worse than that. You know what I mean? It gets even worse than that. All right, this dude's talented as hell. Let me sign him and then bring him to the same people that I'm working with and get that 20% off of his 2 million. That's another 200K in my pocket. That's what you call a hustle. You know what I'm saying? Even though that alley oop is good for the other guy as well. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of deception in this industry. The game, an OG is somebody that offers game to you, man. An OG is somebody that offers game to you when there's a point of it not even being beneficial to him. I done been through all that shit before, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the game so you can go through it, so you can reap some of the reward from it. I can't go back and do all those things again. I can't do that. But listen, here's the path. That's the path you got to go down. You know, helping somebody out. And then when you do it real organically, in the end, it's going to help you. Say, dude becomes a bigger star than you, and then he brings you on his world tour. Somebody name me a situation like that because I bet you it's happened. OG is subjective. That's what Gillie's saying here. Don't know, and personally, don't think he was talking about 8 Ball there. I don't think so, but he certainly went off. He certainly went off. Gillie certainly went off after 8 Ball called him out, man. You know, he didn't do it right away. You know what I mean? He didn't do it right away. He didn't come off as all like, you know, overly emotional about it. That's what Gillie can't do. That's what you're not going to do that if you want to come out on top of the situation. You're just not going to do that. You got to play this shit out smart. You know what I mean? Even if it hurts a little bit. Even if you want to if it doesn't hurt, even if you just want to get your point across. Sometimes you got to hold up, wait. You got to wait for the smoke to clear. You got to wait for the smoke to clear, and then you got to hit with your information. And we'll see what happens, you guys. We'll see what happens this week. Tonight, I believe. Somebody let me know. They're doing an interview with Jay Prince. It's coming out at like 7:30. You know we'll be talking about it. You know we will be talking about it, you guys, because either one of those topics I think is something we have to address. You know what I mean? Whether Gillie actually addresses the 8 Ball situation and the Larry Hoover project. You know what I'm saying? Both of those topics are, I think, something we got to address. Jay Sinatra says Gillie threw the first shot. Yep, unintentional shot. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you're telling a story, one or more of the people actually involved in the story might end up taking offense to the shit. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, man, why you like he didn't really need to say that name in the story to get his point across that he ran from Jay Prince. He really didn't need to say 8 Ball's name in that story. I don't even think he meant to, because later on, while the story was still going on, Gillie kind of cleared it up. You know what I mean? Gillie kind of cleared it up in saying, go listen to it. You'll hear it. Gillie cleared it up actually in the middle of the story. Gillie actually cleared that up. Gillie's a real one, man. And I'm looking forward to see what happens on the podcast tonight. You know, I'm going to smoke up a L and listen to that. You know, I'm going to blaze up a L, watch the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. You know how we do over here. You know how we do on this channel, you guys. Everybody on here watching me right now that is not subscribed, I want you to make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Subscribe to the channel right now, you guys. Tyson, I'm not putting it past Gillie to have actually invited 8Ball and MJG in on the Jay Prince podcast. I'm not putting it past Gillie that they are not on the show tonight. Let me ask you guys though, if 8Ball and MJG were going to be on the $1 Million Worth of Game tonight, would they be promoting it or would they leave it as a surprise? That's what I'm actually wondering, you guys. I'm wondering if it's something that will be left as a surprise where they come in the middle of the interview with Jay Prince, which I think would actually be better. I might be wrong, but I think that would be better, you guys. I actually think that would be better than actually, promoting it. I think it would be better if they actually had him as a guest spot. I appreciate you, Jay. Much love, bro. And man, just try to keep it cool in the chat. Don't I love your questions. I love all the questions. Just certain stuff I'm not gonna say on the channel out of respect for guidelines, man. You know what I mean? Yep. Yep. Nah, leave it as a surprise and dap it up as a misunderstanding and get it right. Now, Gillie's platform, Wallow's platform, they usually use it to have like Kodak Black, Little Durk, these major artists in the game. They rarely have the OGs. They do have the public figures like your Jay Princes, your Wack 100s. They have your public figures on there as well, but they don't normally have older talents on the show like an 8Ball and MJG. So that's why I was, you know what I mean? That's why I kind of was like, are they going to find an opportunity to bring them on the show? I was kind of questioning and wondering it because I do believe that's the best way for them to iron out all their issues, to hash out all their details, is to go live with one another or to actually bring them into the $1 Million Worth of Game studio. Now, I think it's a possibility that it happens on the Jay Prince interview. I think it's a possibility, man. Is it going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. We're only going to have to wait and see, I think, another hour. If somebody in the chat knows, does the $1 Million Worth of Game episode drop tonight? Does $1 Million Worth of Game drop tonight, you guys, or is it Sunday? I know they actually have been changing the release date for it. Yeah, the show is geared towards the new era. That's why I was a little concerned. You know what I mean? That's why I was a little concerned that they wouldn't find a proper time to have 8Ball and MJG on there. I feel like that would be the best way to hash out all their issues. But honestly, man, bro, honestly, you guys, like having the superstars from the past on Gillie's show would also be great. We need Cameron on $1 Million Worth of Game. Mikey T, Cameron was already on $1 Million. No, we need the OGs. You know what I'm saying? We need 3-6 Mafia. We need all these guys. We had, we got the public figures too, your Suge Knights, your Jay Princes, but we need some of them too, man. What is good? What is good? Seattle's in the building. Seattle's in the building tonight. Just going over tonight, basically, Gillie the Kid going in on OGs. Gillie the Kid went off. And this is all coming after I'm sorry, guys. Where was I going with that? Ice T. Yeah, no, I'm just saying they would yeah, all pro. I don't like when people do that shit, bro. That's what Drink Champs is for. Ken C, you got a good point. You got a good point, man. You got a great point right there. But yo, who was the best on Bad Boy Records? A lot of artists we couldn't fit, obviously. There's a lot of artists that we can't fit, obviously, on there. But I fit a few. Obviously, we got the golden era. You got Big Mase from the golden era. We got the early 2000s with Black Rob, and then we got the late 2000s with French Montana. Right now, Big is obviously leading it. Sometimes flagship artists like that you just got to leave out though, because you know that they're gonna dominate it. But if you have not voted in the poll, make sure you guys vote right now. Vote in that poll if you haven't. At the end of my shows, I always do open questions. So if anybody has any open questions, I will take your questions now. I'm going to smoke up the rest of this sour. I wanted to come on and do an early stream for you guys today. I wanted to come and do an early stream for you guys today, talk about a couple different things. Gillie going off, not necessarily on 8 Ball, but he went off, man. He went off on the OGs. Yo, just because somebody is older than you, please don't be referring to them as your OG. Please don't. Gillie said this before. Gillie said this before, and for some reason, Gillie decided he needed to say it again. You know what I mean? For some reason, Gillie decided he needed to say it again. I think we're gonna get a more appropriate response. I think we're gonna get a more appropriate response when he has Jay Prince on the show. We'll have to wait and see what the response is, though, because I think there's multiple things that they could talk about. Maybe they'll keep it cordial, though. Maybe they'll keep it cordial and actually not talk about any of the beef. You know what I mean? Maybe they won't talk about any of the beef. That'll be interesting enough. Like when Jim Jones and Mano came on the show. Y'all got to check that one if you haven't. I just did a Lobby Boys album review. They were actually just on $1 million worth of game. Mano and Jim Jones have really been doing all the promo that they need to do to make sure that that album gets the attention that it deserves. But more than that, they've got records. More than them just talking about it, they've got records that are out there, getting spins and getting the attention that it deserves. Like they've got, obviously they've got the Fabio, and obviously they've got No Bobby V with Fab, which both of those records are making noise on different accords. Both of those records are actually making noise on different levels. You know what I mean? The fact that one of the records is primarily triggered in the streets, slide, the streets, I meant to say the clubs. You know what I mean? That's a record you're going to hear in the clubs and on the radio. Really great. It's really great that Fabio gave him that joint, man. I feel like that's really a gem. Another gem on there is the Young Blue Babysitters. So we'll have to see what they do, man. We'll have to see what they do in the coming months. You know what I mean? Because I know Jim Jones likes to put out projects pretty quickly. So I don't know if we're gonna have to wait a whole nother year to get another Lobby Boys album. I don't think that's gonna be the case. But if anybody has any open questions before we get up out of here tonight regarding the topics, or if you guys just want to tap in on any other random questions, I'm taking open questions right now, you guys, for anybody that has anything to ask. Appreciate you guys for tapping in on my live stream this afternoon. Wanted to do a little live stream before the nighttime. So like I said, if anybody wants to ask me anything, this is the time now to do so. I want y'all on here to follow me on the gram. Right now, I'm actually yep, I'm on the gram. I'm on the gram heavy if you guys want to follow me on there. Jay Sinatra says, "What did you think about Joel Santana interview on Drink Champs?" Well, I have not seen the full interview yet. I have not seen the full interview yet, but I saw that Nori actually is going no holds barred with Joel Santana. Nori is not leaving anything off limits. He even went as far to ask him if the lean was what affected his music, to which Joel Santana said no. Joel Santana said no. Another interview. I'm gonna watch the Drink Champs interview. But another interview uh that I seen Joel's participate in. Now I'm not really into it like that, pro. To give you a prediction on that, brother. But yeah. So another question I seen Joel's answer. I think it was on a different platform though. He actually answered the question about the verses, you guys. Joel Santana actually admitted that they beat him in the verses. Yeah. Yeah, Joel Santana is doing his thing right now, man. He's doing his thing right now. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I really don't know what direction he's gonna take with the music, but right now, that whole baby chronic that he's got going on, he's really marketing that well, and he's getting a lot of people to mess with it. It keeps his chronic keeps popping up on all the different video sets and shit like that. So he's got everybody in the industry actually messing with him. So that's one positive. That's one thing working in his favor, actually. The fact that he's got everybody in the industry actually willing to work with him. I look forward to seeing where Joel Santana goes with it. He's actually been one of my favorite artists since early on. You could really tell all the talent that he had. And then all the breaks in the industry that he got really early on. He got to work with Chris Brown and get featured on that record that really went everywhere. You know what I mean? It was called Run It or something, Running. You know, so he got to do that record with Chris Brown that actually really propelled him into so many different categories. You know what I mean? That's why he really started taking off. I'm not saying that's why because of that record, but in all those different brackets, people started recognizing Joel Santana. He was on his way. That's why Lil Wayne and him were collaborating so heavy, even though Lil Wayne was really coming down and working with a lot of members of the Dipset. You know what I mean? He was working with Cam. He was working with J.R. Ryder. He was working with Jewels, obviously, very closely to the point where they started to develop an album called I Can't Feel My Face. Don't really know what happened to that album. Don't really know what happened to it. Other than other than at a certain point, Lil Wayne became a superstar and Joel Santana wasn't following. You know what I mean? Well, All Pro, I did an actual review. I did a whole review on the Lobby Boys album. I really felt like it was a great piece of work for each of their catalogs. You know what I mean? Honestly, I felt like that was probably Mano's best body of work. That's kind of how I feel. Now, Jim Jones, I feel like it's a respectable body of work to everything else that he's done in the game. I think they both can take it to the next level after getting all of this A-list artist appreciation. They've been getting notoriety. They've been getting acceptance from all of the A-list artists, you guys. I'm talking about Fab. I'm talking about Young Blue. I'm talking about Fabio Foreign. All of these mainstream rappers are showing the Lobby Boys acceptance. I want to go ahead and make a prediction that we're probably going to get Lobby Boys 2. I don't know if they'll just call it the Lobby Boys 2 album. I don't know if they're going to Lobby Boys 2 it. I think they'll actually have a title for the second album. A lot of times, new groups in general, they have their first album titled after what the group is. So, yeah, that didn't catch me off guard so much, that being their debut album title, because they want to get the name across. You know what I mean? Everybody was ready, like G Unit putting out Beg for Mercy. That wasn't their first album. You know what I mean? It was always 50 Cent and Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, and they were G Unit. It was always 50 Cent and G Unit. It was G Unit. You know what I mean? No Mercy. It was always the G Unit shit. So that's why G Unit Beg for Mercy worked so simply. Now, Lobby Boys, a little bit different. You're gonna want to call the album the Lobby Boys to get the name across. Second joint's going to need the subtitle, though, but I'm sure they're both aware of that. It seems like all the podcasters and all the media outlets are pretty cool with them working together as well. You know, they actually told Big U, they were actually telling Big U that they had to wait several years to connect, which I took interest in. I'm like, damn. So these guys actually wanted to work with each other back in the day when they were probably both at their height. You know what I mean? When they were probably both at their height, they wanted to work with one another. But the fact that they were just so busy, they really couldn't lock in. You know what I mean? Jim Jones going through everything in his career of trying to find his follow-up to We Fly High, all the situations with Dipset, coming together, breaking up, him and Cam having friction. Joel Santana eventually goes to jail and ruins it all. You know what I mean? Because they were really just about to come back together at that moment. They had the EP out, right? They had the EP out, I believe, right? So then Joel Santana went to jail and it was all freaking over. And now we're just waiting to see what they do. You know what I mean? But it doesn't look like they're jumping back into it. Mano's situation, you know, Mano came out with the big record that was all over the place. He really didn't have that big of a follow-up to High Hater. He got a second chance on an album. But Mano really just didn't get out there like that. You know, his records were all over the radio. Even John McCain was all over the radio and shit like that. But I just don't feel like that was the best sound that we could have got from Mano. You know, a lot of the times I've done interviews with artists who have told me that the label will choose the singles, and sometimes they'll be going for the uplifting, the club track type joint. When you kind of want to keep it raw and keep it gutter and keep it natural to who you are, because you know what I mean. You're not all the way out there. It's like when we were talking about Diddy and Mase. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people knew Mase. You know, yeah, Vamp Life went hard. Vamp Life went hard. What's good? Detroit's in the building. Detroit's in the building. Major salute to Detroit. Can anybody remember the last thing I just said? Sorry, my guys, I lost my track of thought when I said what up to James from Detroit. But if anybody remembers where I just was, I will get back to it. Let me know if y'all remember that shit. If anybody remembers the last thing I said, I'll get right back on the train of thought that I was on. I'm going to just take a... I'm going to tell y'all, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, y'all. Whoever follows me on the gram, I will follow you guys back. Right? My bad, y'all. I pushed the mute button on accident. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, y'all. Everybody on here right now, I want you to click click over and follow me on the gram. I want everybody on here to click over and follow me on the gram. Yeah, so my dude said, what do you think about the Lobby Boys? Yeah, I think a lot of the Lobby Boys. You know what I mean? I'm really interested to see where they take it, man. I really am. I think those guys can go pretty far with it. Jim Jones puts out albums rapidly. Jim Jones puts out albums rapidly, you guys. What he was doing with Van Life was very inspiring, you know what I mean, on an independent tip. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Also, I think I did say that to Capo, Jim Jones's last album, Capo. Yeah, Lobby Boys is a great follow-up to that. And I like Mano moving on from the King Kong versus Godzilla, the partnership that he had with Uncle Murda. I don't know what the issue is there. I kind of feel like it's the issue that Uncle Murda signed a deal with G Unit and he's on his solo tip. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. All that means is Mano needs to go get back in his bag and go do his thing. Because I had heard rumors, you guys, that I had actually heard rumors that Birdman was actually going to bring Uncle Murda and Mano onto Cash Money. But that was just shit I was reading online or something like that. Mano went off on the lot. Yeah. Yeah, next time I do a live, I'm going to actually bring up the Lobby Boys and I'm going to bring up the Uncle Murda and Mano tape. And I'm going to ask y'all which one was better. If y'all want to put that in the chat right now, you can. If y'all want to put that in the chat right now, you can. But I'll do a poll on that next time I do a live video. I just wanted to tap in here and talk with y'all today, man. I just had to tap in and talk with the audience tonight. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to do an official live video for you guys. Like I said, jump on the IG and follow me. I'm going to pin that up right now. For everybody who actually wants to follow me on Instagram. If you're on there. Free Max B. That's right. Free Max B. Hopefully we get some news on Max B soon enough, but I think Max B is pretty much on the countdown. He's on the countdown now. Max B will be home in about 3 years from what I've read on the docket. The release date looks like it's 2025. So that's what we're keeping our hopes for. You know what I mean? We're keeping our hopes that Max B comes home at any point in time. We see the release date of 2025, so we know it is a reality. It is no longer a ridiculous sentence that he cannot overcome. As Gucci Mane said, it is something that he can handle, I want everybody watching right now. I want everybody watching now to actually subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel right now. If you have not, subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell so you never miss one of my live videos. Everybody watching knows that when you come into one of these live videos, we always have the best interaction, you guys. And I really appreciate y'all. I'm about to get out of here. So if anybody has any final comments, shit they want to put in the chat, this is your last moment to do it for tonight's live podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Had to go over this whole Gillie done went off on Instagram again. Like, I don't think it's about 8 Ball. You know what I mean? I don't think it's about 8 Ball, but it certainly is after 8 Ball called him out. Don't really think it's directed at Mac Main either. I think it's just Gillie making a post. If anything, we'll see what happens on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast with Jay Prince. We'll see what happens there, you guys. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in with me. Let your friends know Mikey T, the movie star, is the king of the bloggers. Just let them know that for me. And I'll see y'all in the next episode, man.